Page 105. One day, for no apparent reason, the warrior realizes that he does not feel the same enthusiasm for the fight that he used to. He continues to do what he has always done, but every gesture seems meaningless. At such times, he has only one choice: to continue fighting the good fight. He says his prayers out of duty, or fear, or whatever, but he does not abandon the path. He knows that the angel, the one who inspires him, has simply wandered off somewhere. The warrior keeps his attention focused on the battle, and he perseveres. Even when everything seems utterly pointless, the angel will soon return, and the merest flutter of his wings will restore the warrior's joy to him. Page 106. A warrior of the light shares with others what he knows of the path. Anyone who gives help also receives help and needs to teach what he has learned. That is why he sits by the fire and recounts his days on the battlefield. A friend whispers, "Why talk so openly about your strategies? Don't you realize by doing so you run the risk of sharing your conquests with others?" The warrior merely smiles and says nothing. He knows that if, at the end of his journey, he arrives to find an empty paradise, his struggle will have been a waste of time. Page 107. The warrior of the light has learned that God uses solitude to teach us to live with other people. He uses rage to show us the infinite value of peace. He uses boredom to underline the importance of adventure and spontaneity. God uses silence to teach us to use words responsibly. He uses tiredness so that we can understand the value of waking up. He uses illness to underline the blessings of good health. God uses fire to teach us about water. He uses earth to explain the value of air. And he uses death to show us the importance of life. Page 108. The warrior of the light gives before he is asked. Seeing this, some of his companions say, "Someone wants something, they'll ask for it." But the warrior knows that there are many people who simply cannot bring themselves to ask for help. Alongside him with people with such fragile hearts that love becomes a sickness. They are starving for affection and yet are ashamed to show it. The warrior gathers these people around the fire. He tells stories, shares his food, drinks with them. The following day, everyone feels better. Those who look on other people's misery with indifference are the most miserable of all. Page 109. If the strings of an instrument are always taut, they go out of tune. Warriors who spend all their time training lose their spontaneity in battle. Horses that are always jumping fences end up breaking a leg. Bows that are bent all day no longer shoot arrows with the same force. That is why, even if he is not in the mood, the warrior of the light tries to enjoy the small, everyday things. Page 110. The warrior of the light listens to Lao Tzu when he says that we should let go of the idea of days and hours in order to pay more attention to the moment, to now. Only in this way can the warrior resolve certain problems before they occur. By focusing on the small things, he manages to avoid larger calamities. But thinking about the small things is not the same as thinking small. Over-anxiety ultimately banishes every trace of joy from life. The warrior knows that a great dream is made up of many different things, just as the light from the sun is the sum of its million rays. Page 111. There are times when the warrior's path becomes merely routine. Then he applies the teachings of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. If you cannot meditate, you should repeat one simple word, because this is good for the soul. Do not say anything else, just repeat that word over and over innumerable times. Finally, it will lose all meaning and take on an entirely new significance. God will open the doors and you will find yourself using that simple word to say everything that you wanted to say. When he is forced to perform the same task several times, the warrior uses this tactic and transforms work into prayer and gratitude. Page 112. A warrior of the light has no certainties. He just has a path to follow. a path to which he tries to adapt depending on the season. During battles that take place in summer, he does not use the same equipment and techniques that he would use during battle that take place in winter. By being flexible, he no longer judges the world on the basis of right and wrong, but on the basis of the most appropriate attitude for that particular moment. He knows that his companions also have to adapt and is not surprised when they change their attitude. He gives each one the necessary time to justify their actions. And when it comes to treachery, he is implacable. Page 113. A warrior sits around the fire with his friends. They spend hours criticizing each other, but they end the night sleeping in the same tent, having forgotten all the insults that were bandied about. Occasionally a new member joins the group. Because he does not yet share a common history, he shows only his good qualities, and some see in him a master. But the warrior of the light never compares him with his old companions in battle. He makes the stranger welcome, but he will not trust him until he knows his defects too. A warrior of the light does not go into battle without knowing the limitations of his ally. Page 114. The warrior knows an old saying, if regrets could kill, and he knows that regrets can kill. They slowly eat away at the soul of someone who has done something wrong, and they lead eventually to self-destruction. The warrior does not want to die like that. When he acts perversely or maliciously, because he is a man of many faults, he is never too ashamed to ask forgiveness. If possible, he does his best to repair the wrong he has done. If an injured party is dead, then he does some good turn to a stranger and offers up that deed to the soul that he wounded. A warrior of the light has no regrets, because regrets can kill. He humbles himself and undoes the wrongs he has done. Page 115. All warriors of the light have heard their mothers say, my son wasn't thinking straight when he did that. Deep down, he is a very good person. Although he respects his mother, he knows that this is not true. He does not waste his time blaming himself for his rash actions, nor does he spend life forgiving himself for all the wrong he has done. Doing that would never set him back on the right path. He uses common sense to judge not the intention of the action, but its consequences. He takes responsibility for everything he does, even if he has to pay a high price for his mistake. As the old Arabic proverb says, God judges a tree by its fruits, and not by its roots.